It's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I have a fun card for you using the For the Wind Cling stamp set from Stampin' Up! It's in the new annual catalog, and this is a great stamp set for kids. So if you've got children who are still playing sports, or you have grandchildren, nieces and nephews, hey, you could even use this for the guy in your life. So it's a really cute stamp set that has golf, soccer, basketball, baseball, football, everything you need there. And so I made this fun card using some bright colors, and then it has this really fun fold in the middle. Is that cool or what? I first saw this fold called an accordion fun fold when I was on the cruise to Thailand 2 summers ago. Jackie Williams, a New Zealand demonstrator, was demonstrating in the dining room that day, and I went by her table and she had a really neat card that had this, and she told me just remember it's 10 inches and then you're going to score 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I thought, okay, I can remember that. Well, it took me a little searching, but I did find those measurements. So this is a really cute fun fold with an accordion there, and I just love all these sports motifs in here. So to get started, let's take a look at what I used here. It's just an A2 size card, so that meant, and we're going to change up our colors on this one, so that meant the card base is going to fit into an A2 size envelope. So the front of it will be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So on this one, I'm making a portrait card that opens on the right side. So this is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. And of course, you can always go to my blog, CindyLeeBDesigns.com, and you can look in the search bar for this stamp set, For the Win, and you will find this card. You could also put in accordion fun fold, the technique I'm using, and it'll pop up a link to go to that card. So I'm using Pacific Point on the card we're gonna make here today. And instead of the Call Me Clover, I'm using the Pacific Point. And then we're going to have a Whisper White on the outside of the card here. We're gonna build up a pretty cool design on the front using our stamps, and that's going to be 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White. And then I'm going to use a scrap to do the birthday MVP, and then we're going to have to fun fold that accordion on a piece of 10" by 5 1/4. So 5 1/4, so that it is putting a border on the top and the bottom of the card, and then it's 10 inches this way. So unfortunately, you can't get much out of it. You're going to use a whole sheet of Whisper White. So let's get started here. I'm going to bring out the Stampin' trimmer. We'll set our little sports balls over there. So we're going to pull out our Stampin' trimmer because we're going to do some scoring. So you're going to take the 10" side and put it up against the raised groove on your trimmer, and you're going to go to 2 inches on the left side of that scoring and cutting groove. Now make sure you have your cutting blade down and use the lighter gray, which is your scoring one, and you're going to score at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you'll just pull out the arm on your trimmer and score it at 7 and at 8. And when you score starting at 2 and going to 8, you end up with a 2" section on each of the sides that gets attached to the card. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how this is going to be this side, and what you'll do is, it would be easier to go ahead and do your stamping now, but I folded mine before. You're going to accordion it because you want this to be on the inside of the card, and you're just going to fold it back and forth like an accordion. And there you go, and you'll know you've done it right when your 2 pieces here are lined up. Okay, and so there are so many stamps on this set, and if we were playing a game, haha, no pun intended, I would probably get extra points because I used every stamp in this stamp set on this card. Every single stamp. Not very often that I do that, and there's a lot of them in there. So because there's so many of them, and would be a lot of you watching me just color stamp, ink stamp, I went ahead and did the front of the card. And I just picked Pacific Point, Call Me Clover, and Crushed Curry. I like Crushed Curry because it has like a more of a bold statement than the daffodil. And so that is going to go onto the front of our card. So let's just get that adhered on there. Grab my snail here. I'm hoping it's going to hold out. I think it will. So we're going to put, well, you know what, because it's on the front of the card, we should give it a little more extra oomph. So we're just going to put that on the front of the card with a nice 1/8 inch border all around the sides. And on this card, I'm always playing around with colors. On this card, I did the win in the Pacific Point. On this card, I did the win in the Call Me Clover to match that part. So then when I was looking at the front, in the middle here, I went ahead, and you know what, on this card, I wanted to show you, I did something. I love the birthday VIP, but I was trying to figure out a way to add even a little more pizzazz to this, and I did stamp this in Pacific Point, let it dry completely, and then I used my Call Me Clover dark Stampin' blend, and I colored it in, and the verdict's still out if I like it or not. So give me an idea if you think it looks nice colored in, or you would just leave it white. At least it's kind of stark white there, but I don't know. So on this card, I decided to do the birthday VIP, MVP. Did I say VIP? MVP. I decided to do it in the Call Me Clover. And I just used the size of the stitched rectangles that fits around it just nice, perfectly. So I did that, and then I cut out, using the next bigger one, a crushed curry panel. So we are going to, and you can tell, I always save scraps even when I make a mistake there. So what we're going to do is we're going to position this in the middle of our card. And I'm going to try to use my Stampin' Grid paper to give me some guidelines here. And I just kind of look at the horizon, and then I put my crushed curry, and then I put some dimensionals behind this panel there. There's my dimensionals right off to my right. So I'm going to put them on here, but I'm leaving myself a little space here because you'll notice on the front of this card I made a little pennant there, and so I want to be able to slip it under there and not be impeded. So I'm just going to stick some dimensionals on there and get those little guys off here. I'm sure that Archie and Lucy, who are with Grandma today, are probably going to be trailing those down to the kitchen next time we go out. So we're going to put that right in the middle of the crushed curry stitched rectangle. And after I made that, I thought, oh, it just needs a little bit something, something. So I made some pennants on it. I just took a piece, I think this was 3/4 of an inch here. And what I did is I just folded it in half. And then that way I knew when I was cutting my pennant end using my hexagon punch that's retired, I knew that they would be the same pennant ends on it. So I did 2 at a time. And then I just, whoop, why am I doing that off camera? So I just cut a little bit off of there using those big old scissors that I've had forever. And now I know these are going to be my 2 pennant ends that are going to slip in there. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the edge of my pennant ends, because of course we're looking at pennants when we're doing a sports card. And I think I might not, oh, I did cut that enough. Okay, and then you just slide it in on the one side, and then pick this up, and wait, let me see, do I have that, get that adhered, there we go. Slide this one in, and see, I did not leave myself enough room, so I'm actually going to end up making my pennant a little smaller, improvising, because I didn't leave enough room when that dimensional was catching that. And then I'm just going to strip a little bit off of here too, and then just pop. You just want to get the same amount of pennant showing on each side. There we go. I think it's up a little bit too far. Of course, you never find out if it's right in the right place until you take a photo. Ah! Do I have, oh, I didn't put more adhesive on there. Sorry, guys. being fumble fingers here. I thought since I wasn't going to be stamping all this stuff that I would get this done lickety-split, but let's just get, I see a little snail boogie there. Okay, so we've got our nice pennant there. So the front of our card is done. Okay, so now we are just going to look at this inside. So we went ahead, remember, and we scored this. We scored it at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that left us those 2-inch sections on the side here. And I stamped I'm your fan, I'm your number 1 fan down here in the lower right corner. And I put some little stars up here. And then I put a football, hip hip hooray, and the golf ball on the tee. Now I have to tell you, when I was playing around with this card, I tried to do the hip hip hooray straight and it wasn't perfectly straight, and I said, remember, if you put things on an angle like you meant to do it, then it looks like that. So now we just have to put our different balls on there. So what we're going to do is stamp them, and I stamped those in the got to get my yellow there, my crushed curry. So I stamped each of them and I cut them out using the layering circles. We have a layering circle that's about 1 3/8 inches across, and that was a perfect cut to leave a little bit of a white border there. And then I just put the corresponding color that I did the color, I don't know that the word corresponding, but the matching color. When you're making a video, you're like making up words as you go along, or the words that don't really go with what you're saying. So there we go. Crushed curry, Call Me Clover, and Pacific Point. And then I'm going to show you how to. So this is the first one I did here, and you can see it's not perfectly straight, but I am going to go ahead and use it on this card. Okay, so I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Now remember, these panels, it's going to be attached here and it's going to be attached here. Now you could just attach it there, but if you're off a little bit, it might not fold exactly straight. So what I do is I go ahead and put my adhesive on one of the sides. Okay, and this is the side that there won't be any writing on, so I can be generous there. And then I just go and I get a nice matching border on that left side and the top and the bottom. And you're always having to stand on your tippy toes and eyeball this when you're doing a video. So there we go. So we've got this nice clean border on the side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just shut this accordion. And like I said, this is going to be the part that goes onto this side. So just go ahead and put your adhesive on there. I'm not going to be as generous in getting this all over here because you are going to write, but snail is very forgiving as far as writing with a pen across. It doesn't make bumps, but glue is a little harder to do. So now that we have this right in place and we can see that the corners are matched up, this top and this bottom corner, we can just close the card and say, please, Jesus, let this work. And then there we go. We've got a nice border around this side, and we've got this accordion. Haha. Well, let's just get it to close. We've got the accordion that's going to close on our card. See, there you go. Now I went ahead and put these playing balls here. And so I went with the soccer, then the baseball, and then the basketball. Now, when I looked at this card, I wanted, when it opened, that you could still see the I'm your fan. So on this card, you can still see it. So I just positioned that right up above this sentiment here. So you just have to figure out which way. I think the basketball would look good this way. So I'm going to put my adhesive only on that one side. And if you wanted to be more secure by using tear and tape, you could. Except for I just went ahead and did this in case I wanted to move it. So there we've got that one. Now if you look at the way these go, I put the same amount of space with the top one. So let's put some adhesive on half of that one. And then I went down on, it would be the first one. I went down about the same amount that I was up on here. So it's just about, well, actually that could go down a little bit little further. Hopefully I won't rip it. That's the reason why you use the snail. And there we go. So we can see that you've got about the same amount of space here. And then you can just put the baseball in the middle. Kind of close this. Of course, it doesn't want to cooperate with me right now. There we go. And okay, come on, cooperate. There we go. And then I just put the baseball and the adhesives on this side. I just put it right, and I'm just putting it right against the score line where it's folded, and you can see that they kind of stagger, go down in a diagonal. And isn't that cute? Isn't that just darling? I'm still playing around with maybe putting some more embellishments on the outside of it. Trying to figure out how to do that. But there you go. You've got Pacific Point and Call Me Clover and Crushed Curry, making a great festive sports-themed card for your grandson, your niece, your nephew. Hey, maybe send it to your husband. So there you go. Birthday MVP. I keep saying VIP. And like I said, I scored a lot of extra points by using every single stamp in this set. So take a second look at that For the Wind. For the Win. I was taken with the circles on it, and I wanted to do a spinner card with the ball spinning around, and that was my idea that I set out with this morning, but it ended up being this accordion fun fold. So you've got room over here to write your message. So I want to thank you guys for buzzing by. And if you have any questions, you can go to my blog, cindyleeBdesigns.com. If you have any questions, you can email me at cindyleeb@gmail.com. You can call or text me at 724-323-2296. I love happy emails and happy texts that show me cards that you've made or ways that you were inspired. And I wanted to thank again Jackie Williams, who gave me the inspiration to use this accordion fold. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.